In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
Welcome back to another Pointless Automotive podcast. Hi. Hey guys. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, we are back at good old Car Park. That's car with a K.
Right.
Out here in Pleasanton. We were here last episode, although we decided to be smart and spin the camera around. Because last time, what you see behind us, which we've got a less than 10,000 original mile 62 Corvette. We've got a GT3 RS over there, and we've got a Panhard. Don't ask me what model of Panhard, but we've got an old Panhard, and that was what we were looking at before. So we spun the camera around so you get to see what fun stuff is back there.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff today, mostly something that's unfun. At least actually kind of traditionally and recently, more recently than not, in the unfun category.
Okay.
Which is your grandpa's favorite manufacturer, and China's, I believe, modern day China's favorite manufacturer, which is Buick. What are your thoughts on Buick?
How do I feel about... That's a loaded question, isn't it? Let's talk about Buick for a second. I think Buick right now is probably one of the least desirable enthusiast automakers right now currently available. I mean, Mitsubishi we joke about.
Kind of a long time coming, but for a long time.
But they have a history of pretty solid stuff.
Yeah, they have
really
some good history. But for a long time now, and really we're at like absolute peak boringness as far as the brand of Buick.
Yeah, it's tough times for Buick. Their lineup consists of, and I am fully prepared to talk about their lineup if you don't mind.
Ooh,
I'm going to burn this mic up.
And this is all going to be an effort to save Buick.
Because that's what we're here to do.
We are. Remember when we saved Mitsubishi? Remember when Mitsubishi was teetering on the brink, and then we decided
on our words.
Exactly, and then we decided to save. We put on a cape, my friend, and we saved Mitsubishi. Yeah, they are Mitsubishiing, and they actually, I think they took advice of one of our things. They've relaunched the Outlander, and it's moved up scale, which we both talked about on both of our little theses. So Buick, I think, needs our.
You know what, though? I did notice my consulting fees weren't paid. I don't know if Mitsubishi sent you a check or...
You get paid?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
even though we saved their company.
That's true. Okay.
But we're here to do
Checks
it for
in the
Buick.
mail, I've heard.
I think the first step is identifying what the current case, the business case is for Buick. And it's three crossovers / SUVs.
I like how if you go to their website, which I did in preparation,
but they break down all the submodels.
They dare try and say that they have like 6 models, but realistically it's like 3.5. And one is actually discontinued. So really it is the half model's been discontinued.
It's a goner.
It's pure SUV lineup, right?
Yeah. You want to hear it?
I want to hear it. Give it to me straight, dog.
The letter E is going to be a common theme here. Encore. They call this their small SUV.
Is that which Encore though? The Encore or the other Encore?
So my friend, there's 2 more E's for you.
Oh, double E?
Encores.
But there's Encore, but then they have 2 Encores?
They have different
literally
trims
2 Encores.
that literally...
But they're 2 different vehicles.
Somewhat.
That's the half.
I think they got rid of it though.
I think they still show it as available on their website, but they did it for 2020.
That's because they didn't sell
the regular Encore. Because they have the regular Encore, which is actually a rebadged Opel.
That's right. Yep.
And then they have the Encore GX, which
you're going to go into
is slightly bigger.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different vehicle, like different drivetrain, different platform, different everything. It's not an Opel.
Well, let's go down in size first. There is the Envision.
I'm having a hard time envisioning this Envision.
Well, I would like you to envision an Encore and then expertly envision the Envision.
Oh, boy.
By stepping down a few cubic inches in not displacement. Well, maybe. But overall size. So the Envision is their compact SUV, guys, for those taking notes. And then if you need to go big, you need to go big
or
Buick,
go home.
Buick style. And the option to go home is probably better in this case. But,
yeah, convalescent home, probably.
Yeah. Enclave is their mid-size SUV. They don't actually.
But it's the largest one they have.
Yeah,
though, right?
so they don't technically have anything that falls in the large demographic of SUVs. So that's what we got: Encore, Envision, Enclave.
What's interesting is I think you go to the website and it's not the Enclave. It's the quote new Enclave. Like literally the model name is new. Back when you had like the new
Pepsi,
had a new Beetle,
new Coke.
Well, when the Beetle, when they redid the Beetle, it was literally like on the title it would say new Beetle.
They still say that too in the ads, which is cool.
Yeah, and
just in case you can't mess up the years.
And they did. I think when they went from the GMT 400 Chevy truck to the GMT 800, they also had like for the first half model year or whatever it was called, like the new Silverado.
That's awesome.
So on the title. So we have the new Enclave, and then don't forget they also tried to sneaky add pretend other models in there by saying that the Envision Avenir, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Avenir.
And the Enclave Avenir is like its own separate model when it's just a trim level.
Just trying to fill it. Trying to fill the.
Well, when you have like
basically
three vehicles, and one of them is a captive import, you gotta. It's hard for that like configurator on your website to just have like three options that are all the same, really, just in different sizes.
Why did Pontiac have to die again?
Maybe they didn't.
Buick.
Maybe Buick. I have my own thesis on how I would say Buick.
What? Here's the deal. So we're both going to present our cases to Buick directly, probably through you guys. So spread the word if you got connections.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
get us in there.
We'll get you 0.5% of the licensing fee that we get from Buick
when we have our IPO.
Exactly. The IP no.
IP what?
Exactly.
IP freely.
Yeah. Hey, no.
I love it. Great minds.
So where do you? I think last time when we did Mitsubishi,
I led.
You led. Do you want me to lead?
I want
this
you to
stance?
lead this time.
Man. I will lead the stance.
Take us to Buick's promised land. The
so
success story.
My thought on how Buick can be anything other than what they are now, because just not even an also ran. Like I don't know how many vehicles they sold overall last year. I'm gonna say maybe as a brand, maybe 100,000, and probably 70,000 of that was probably to rental agencies and stuff. Although I guess they probably weren't buying a lot of cars in COVID. So
true.
I actually don't know. They might have sold 7 cars last year, Buick as a whole. However,
a lot of leases. Yeah.
Part of my envision for Buick would be actually involve another brand, and by that I mean I would have to reposition. In order for me to do what I want to do with Buick, I would want to completely reposition Cadillac in the process.
This is big.
So I would move Cadillac further upscale. Because in theory, what I would want Buick to be, I would want Buick to be GM's really like entry-level / mid-level luxury car brand.
Okay.
Which is what they pretend to be.
That's what they used to be, right?
Yeah, but they kind of aren't, because realistically, that's kind of what Cadillac has been for the last 30 years.
Oldsmobile too was like in
Oldsmobile,
that same...
and that's why Oldsmobile got axed, because they were completely superfluous.
R.I.P.
And at this point, Buick kind of is superfluous, because it's in this middle ground of pretending to be entry-level luxury, but not really, and being completely staid and boring, and having zero gravitas. When Buick was best in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
They actually had a little excitement and gravitas and oomph. And Cadillac at the time was, quote unquote, the Cadillac of automobiles. But Cadillac has kind of been, compared to its true competition, despite what GM believes, has been this entry-level, luxury brand.
Yeah, agree with that.
But I think the nameplate has enough gravitas where if they moved Cadillac upscale, maybe not Bentley upscale, but truly competing with Mercedes-Benz upscale,
okay, yeah.
Which is not an easy task. But if they moved Cadillac that far upscale, that leaves a vacuum where Buick can actually thrive, which is kind of where Cadillac is right now. And so I would move Buick upscale. I would move Cadillac like ultra premium upscale, and I would move Buick into the entry level / middle road luxury scale.
Kind of like where Saab used to be.
Kind of where Saab used to be,
Saab
except I would not lean. Saab was more of like the safety and technology thing.
Sure, yeah.
I would not do that with Buick. I would make Buick the entry level / performance division, because that's kind of what Cadillac has been doing.
And there's no more
because
Pontiac.
they've got their V's, the V cars, which they've kind of torpedoed that brand name a little bit because they watered it down and then added Blackwing above it, which nobody associates
like
Blackwing with anything.
Well, no, it's the final.
Other than Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, Darkwing Duck.
So,
classic.
My thesis and what I would do with Buick is I would make it that I would kind of make it what Cadillac is today. I would move Cadillac more upscale, but I would lean on some of Buick's history because you have to, because there's nothing else to do. There's no brand cachet in the Encore and the Envoy and the Enclave and the Ensuite, whatever. So there are some nameplates that I would want to probably bring back. I think, just like I was talking about taking some of the spot that Cadillac is occupying right now, is I would want them to have a performance luxury sedan. So basically, you take your current CT5 Blackwing, and you make a Buick version of it as the GS, like the Buick Grand Sport.
Oh,
the GS.
Yeah.
I would be bringing back that nameplate.
Good.
I would have a sedan and potentially a wagon, just like currently with the CTSV / CT5 cars. And then if you want to do an ultra high performance, like the Blackwing version, you do the GSX.
Well, they had that very gorgeous looking Regal wagon. I don't
They
think they
did,
ever made
but
a sporty
I believe that was
version.
an Opel, and it was like a 2-liter turbo.
Yeah, they
not
never made like a
sporty.
GS iteration.
But it was a good-looking car.
Great looking car.
It was practical. They sold like 7 of them.
I was shocked the first time I saw one. I think it was at the Grand Canyon or something, and Grand Canyon or Yellowstone, and I saw like a family drive up and get out of this.
The family truckster,
this Buick like low slung, good looking station wagon, right?
Yeah,
I mean it's no Riviera, but that thing was attractive, and I was just like shocked. I'm like, what is this?
Did you say Riviera?
I reckon I did. How can we not
talk
about Rivieras?
Well, the Riviera would have to come back. I would do it. The way I would do it is, and here's something I'm trying to avoid when we play the "How would you save this dead or dying brand" game.
Sure.
Is I think the easy way is sort of what I did with Mitsubishi, which is I'm going to bring a full EV brand, and I don't want to do that every single time we do one of these.
Yeah, it's too real. It's too realistic.
However, it is too realistic.
It's probably what they're going to do. Yeah.
However, the fact that there is not an EV or at least like plug-in hybrid Buick under the Buick Electra nameplate.
Yeah,
the fact that doesn't exist.
They do have
is absurd.
They have an electric crossover. I didn't catch the name. I don't know if they're using Electra. I saw it on the
needs
website.
To be Electra.
Yeah,
you have to have an EV. What you do is you basically make it. There's all this talk about the sedan is dead and SUVs and this and that. But if you look around, like you've got the Lucid Air, you've got the Model S and the Model 3, and they are selling lots of those cars. At least I see. I mean, I don't see a ton of Lucids, not yet. But there's still a place for the sedan, and I think if you do an EV GT car, big miles, you don't have to do the extreme performance, Plaid, but you do the Electra. It's got reasonable power, 400 plus horsepower. EV. You do a GT, like basically like a GT sedan. You can maybe make a wagon version. Right, cool. just for some extra capability there, and you bring back you basically platform share all of that, and you do a coupe version, and the coupe is the Riviera.
Oh, I like that.
And you bring back the Riviera, so that would definitely be in the cards. Electric Electra. If you want an entry level version of that, it can be gas powered, and then maybe have an EV option. Sort of like Volvo has you can get the XC40 compact SUV in an all gas or an all electric version. I think in order to keep these brands going, you have to have an a BEV option. And I'm torn on what I would name it. I think the Century, you can do the Century. However, with the Buick Century, I would prefer the Apollo. I like the Buick. I love that nameplate. I think it's got a little, with all this talk about SpaceX and all this, we're gonna partner with Japan and make another mission to the moon and whatever. I think it's an opportunity to kind of lean on that and also kind of the rocket age era of Buick, which is really when Buick was at their best.
Huge, yeah.
And do the Buick Apollo. I think that would be cool, and have that as your kind of smaller, smaller than a Camry, bigger than a Corolla sedan. And one thing I was thinking is if you do gasoline and electric versions of all these, just like back in the day when you had your Buick T-Type, which was the turbocharged.
Yeah.
In like the Regal, you have your Regal T-Type, which then turned into the Grand National and the GNX.
Never heard of that one before.
Now I feel like maybe Jaguar probably owns the IP to E-Type. But
Probably.
if you had the electric version, maybe you call it the EV Type.
Oh.
That's a little on the nose.
Yeah.
But I think you find a play on the old like Buick T-Types when in the early to mid 80s you had the turbocharged, got its own little special.
That is super
Special
cool.
moniker. Let's face it though, in order for this brand to have, as much as I'm using Buick as a way to avoid SUVs, which by the way is the exact opposite of what they're doing today, I do think they need to have an SUV. I think, again, much of the way that I'm using Buick to supplant current Cadillac, I would want to do basically a full-size, a mid-size to full-size SUV.
Okay.
And I would want it to have, doesn't have to be body on frame, but at least a little bit of off-road chops, which is new territory.
That is new
territory for Buick.
Yeah.
But it's weird to think like, if you think of Buick, you do not think of an SUV, period. Even though that's all they make currently.
Right.
Which goes to show you the current state of Buick.
Yeah.
I think of a Rendezvous before I think of a Terraza before I think of an Encore, right? So
Sure.
I would do a full-size SUV, much like because we're moving Cadillac, don't forget, we're moving Cadillac upscale. So with Cadillac upscale, now we have a hole where Cadillac's probably best-selling product which is the Escalade. Yeah. So I would have a Buick version of the Escalade. I don't exactly know what to call it. You could do maybe Century or Special or one of the old names. I don't know if any of them really fit because they don't have a history of building SUVs.
It's true.
The one thing I would do though is I would make sure that my like more off-road trimmed version of it would be called the Off-Road Master.
I love that.
So you've got the Buick Roadmaster.
I love that.
I would have the off-road trim, and it would be called the Off-Road Master.
That's so sweet.
And I'm picturing like the new Grand Wagoneer, the Jeep Grand Wagoneer.
Yeah.
Like that kind of a competitor.
Modern, but
where
retro
it's got a little hint
dash
of potential off-road capability,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
everyone knows it's never going off-road.
No,
I
mall
think it's
crawler.
never. Yeah. But you kind of have to give it a little bit of gravitas there, which is new territory for Buick. But again, the Escalade has a tiny splash of that, maybe not as much as the Wagoneer because of the Jeep moniker.
Right.
But I would have the Off-Road Master would be my
I like that,
slightly
yeah. I like that one
chunky
a lot.
off-road trim version of that. And realistically, that's how there's some other ones I thought about bringing back. Like I could have brought the Skylark back instead of the Apollo.
True.
I think there's maybe you can do a CUV as a Skylark.
You could change the name.
I would do that, and just have it again, kind of leaning on this space age, jet age feel of Buick because that's when Buick was at their best.
Yeah, agreed.
And so whether you do SpaceX tie-ins or whatever, Rocketdyne edition, I don't know, but that's my thought on Buick. What are you bringing back? Are you bringing back the Buick Somerset?
Man.
Like what do you got going on? What's your?
I do like your lineup. I like your solution. I think you're always such a realist with these things, Frank. I think you present an actual case that would work, and
I try to be.
My highlight is your take on the Roadmaster.
The Chodemaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. The off-road. The off-road
I'm
master.
surprised you didn't go with a lifted wagon, like a safari wagon.
Maybe.
I know it wouldn't have sold. It would not sell.
Well, it wouldn't sell. I mean, it'd be tough. But I threw in a wagon version of kind of everything. You got the Wagon Electra. You've got the wagon, the Grand Sport GSX. Add one of the Apollo.
Yeah.
An entry-level wagon.
I love
Because how much more interesting would a Model 3 be to own if they had a wagon?
100% better.
I mean, and I guess the Model Y is a wagon, but
No way.
with
dude.
wearing like the fake mustache and the fake nose with the glasses, pretending to be an SUV.
Agreed. Not quite wagon. It's like diet wagon.
Exactly.
So what do I got for you?
What do you got for me?
Buick. Let's start off boring. So
Okay.
I'm going to keep the Encore.
Okay.
Not because I'm such a fan, but I think smaller SUVs will not go away.
Wait, hold on. I don't remember. I think one of these is an applause button on our new Fandy.
You think that's worth it?
Wait,
I don't know if that's a womp womp.
Can you say Encore?
Encore?
Okay, I think I just did some applause for your Encore.
Won't be on this.
There we go. It's
That was
okay.
an awkward button.
Yeah.
So the Encore, yeah, someone just got hit with a chair.
Steel chair.
So the Encore, we're going to push upmarket because crossover SUVs are still all the rage. Everybody's going to buy one.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to push it upmarket like much. Let's celebrate the success we had with Mitsubishi with the Outlander.
Okay.
So we're recommending the same thing. Buick Encore, push that thing up a little bit, man.
the
Nice
little
interior.
one they just canceled, or the slightly bigger one?
This is the in-betweeny.
The in between. So the
small.
GX.
No, not compact. This is small. So upmarket it.
Yes.
That's all I want to spend on that. Next one, we're going back to Roadmaster.
Ooh. Okay.
So my Roadmaster,
wood paneling. We going wood paneling?
it's on there.
Ooh.
You know it. So this is going to be a larger wagon platform. So very large wagon like the original, LS powered.
Okay.
So I don't know.
We're bringing the LS. We're dusting off the LS platform.
We're going to use the engine out of the current Camaro SS, the 455 horsepower.
Is that
whatever.
the LT something or other? I'm not up on my super.
Yeah, I
current.
lost track in the mid
Several letters
2000s.
ago.
Yeah. So 455 horsepower factory.
Okay. Sure.
Let's put a manual option in there.
Okay.
So and there will be a throwback, like we'll call it the Legacy Edition or something, wooden side version.
Yes.
So I want it to be like you know how the Magnum was kind of like modern looking but still a little retro, big. I want it to have big proportions. So
Sure.
I just want it to be like a big road presence. Bring back the Roadmaster name because the Roadmaster
Thick
was
with multiple
famous.
Cs, if you
Yeah. Stay home if you're sick. Come over if you're thick.
Pretty much.
So
But in Buicks.
Yeah, and the original Roadmaster was totally a family station wagon with a Corvette power plant. So I kind of want to go for that same kind of modern day vibe. I think that's popular. That is my SUV in my lineup. I'm not going to put a full size.
Double.
We're bringing wagons back, baby.
Yeah. Okay.
Sports car, guys. I can't leave sports cars off the mark. Grand National is coming back.
Okay.
My friend.
Okay. So I went Grand Sport. You went Grand National.
Grand National.
Okay.
So what is the Grand National even going to have for a power plant? So I took a little digging. In GM,
They gotta have a turbocharged 6-cylinder. Or something,
yeah,
right?
it's the what is it, the 4V, not the C5V. It's C4V, right?
Correct. Yes.
Blackwing
Yeah.
has a twin turbo V6 putting out, I think it's like 472 horsepower.
Okay.
So that's
Not bad.
very stout.
Yeah.
Because the Grand National definitely punched above its weight class when it came out. Maybe we can tweak
Right.
that a little bit, but I think nearly 500 horsepower looks great. With this, I want it to be angular still, like
Angular
kind of
motion.
keep some of that boxy look. Going to be a coupe, rear wheel drive. Going to have a manual option, which I think was the shortcoming of the original Grand National.
Yeah, for sure. I
think
mean,
the
and I get
automatic-
it because at the time it was just like, this is not an athletic car; it's a straight line shooter.
And they couldn't,
But
I don't think they had a manual gearbox for that much torque at that time.
Probably
for that
not.
car, for that platform.
yeah, that would have been tough because even all the other stuff that use that motor, nothing.
Not for that kind of. It was like outlandish power.
Yeah, just blow up T5s all day.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the way people drove them. But I think the Grand National comes back like that, and it's going to be something kind of like really strong body lines, like just kind of throwback. But I think the badging comes back. We keep the retro badging.
Yeah,
with the turbo and on the
turbo.
seat, like
Yeah.
imprinted on the seat. I think that would be a huge hit, especially with that power plant because that car is like unbelievably fast.
Yes.
Like the C4 Blackwing, or CT4, sorry. CT4 Blackwing, got to get my naming conventions down. So we do need, much like you said, luxury.
We do need that luxury.
And if you can't tell, I'm kind of positioning Buick. I'm not going to push Cadillac out of their current dwelling.
Okay.
So I'm going to slot Buick under them,
Okay.
but still have, a little bit of a sporty edge since Pontiac's not here, right? So
Right.
we need a new exciting division within GM.
We need some of the build driving excitement.
Yeah, someone's got to.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
Wider is better.
Buick Riviera,
Okay.
except this is going to be a big, comfy cruising car.
Sure.
So lots of power, lots of like absolutely. Like we're bringing back lazy boy seats. It's going to be
Tufts.
This is
Tufted leather.
Velour options.
Entiende.
So we're putting a big V8 in this. We're gonna drop a nice lumpy V8 in there. We're gonna do over the top interior. I want like
the movie Over the Top.
Yeah,
interior.
Yeah, with a scorpion cup in the middle. you and the passenger arm wrestle.
Exactly.
No, but yes, but no. We'll go with like a gorgeous. I want like an opulent, like super nice leather. I want big, thick wooden chunks. I want marble. If I can get marble in there. For crash test rating.
Marble.
Yeah, we're going all the way. I want it to be old school, but like you know what I'm saying. Remember the old Bentleys? How they looked inside? Like everything was solid wood, solid thick metal. I'm kind of going for that, and that's what I wrote. Bentley,
so you're going
Bentley
like half performance division, half literally installing marble in the interior.
Yeah, dude.
Oh boy, have that cake and
it might be lightweight performance marble at that point.
Simulation marble.
Yeah, and I want the old Riviera like logo and stuff just to come back because I think that would look so cool on a car.
The big like stylized R.
Exactly.
You can do that.
Where they tried to do their own brand. How'd that work out? Buick. So that's my.
But that's Imperial.
Right. Exactly. So that's my comfy cruiser in the lineup. I think that would. I think the market's pretty good for that. I think people still like bigger cars.
Yeah.
And we're not building any more SUVs other than the Encore. And then my wild card is a Wildcat.
Oh, the Wildcat.
You know the concept,
I thought about Wildcat.
Guys, I'll put an image up on the YouTube version, but I don't have the internet with me. I didn't connect to the Wi-Fi. So I'm going to walk you guys through what the Wildcat is. So this was a Buick. It wasn't even a concept car. It was a prototype. So
well, they did have a production Wildcat,
right?
But that was just like a sedan.
It was just a one-off kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what you're picturing here is an all-wheel drive rear engine Buick that looked like a big space bubble. It was like a giant bubble. It had the 3.8 liter GM engine, which is like one of the best engines GM made as far as reliability. Except for this one, it became a little crazy. It has 24 valves. It fell in the hands of a company. You guys know McLaren? You ever heard that one, Frank?
I did.
You ever heard of McLaren? They can massage an engine apparently.
I've heard.
And this is
or they have AMG do it. One of the two.
Yeah, this is 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And it made 360 horsepower, naturally aspirated.
Not bad.
Oof. But anyway, we can do that. But today it would probably be some iteration of a twin turbo V6. Still keep the rear engine configuration.
Probably the same V6 out of your Grand National.
Oh yeah, probably. Maybe tweak it a little more because it's more sporty. Maybe.
I mean, wild's in the name.
Yeah, so we'll go wild. It's gonna keep the all-wheel drive, but this thing is gorgeous, guys. I can't describe it. It's wonderful. You know when they try to make a future car and it like falls apart and it's absolutely horrible to look at? This is not that case. It looks gorgeous. It looks like one of the Vision Gran Turismo cars. If you guys play Gran Turismo,
it
looks like a Vision Gran Turismo car.
Like each manufacturer made their own.
Yeah, and I want to bring that back. I think that's kind of a cool car because Buick doesn't have anything that you would call cool, right? So this cool concept, rear engine, all-wheel drive, basically a supercar.
Yeah.
Just stick it in there for the hell of it. Why not?
I think.
Why not?
What's interesting is I think if you made it like a true halo car, then it could work because I mean, there's been nothing to draw anyone even remotely to even blink in the direction of Buick in a very long time. That Regal wagon that you mentioned is the most interesting thing that's come out of Buick.
Sure.
In 20-something years.
And that's because we're weird wagon people.
Sure, but even like that's how miserable and moribund that brand has been, and so I think if you go, and we're just coming off of talking about the Nissan and the Z. Nissan's been lost at sea for a little while, and then they've got this shiny new Halo thing, and that's a $50,000 car. You're talking about that's got to be $100 plus.
Oh, it's got to be right, yeah, because it's gonna be a
true
supercar
Halo
contender.
car.
Yeah,
like I don't want to say they're LFA, but they're very supercar contender. Bring people in.
Even as a twist on it, keep that cool concept look, but make it a full electric performance car.
That would work too.
That's probably more realistic.
Probably more realistic. I mean, if you're talking Halo car, I feel like you're not selling in numbers to where like you kind of are no rules.
Yeah, it's just to get your brand like a new image, right? That's what that's what a Halo car truly does.
Wildcat.
Let's be honest though, like how many of these bringbacks are going to be like journalist panty droppers, like a Roadmaster coming back with like performance charts, or like the
Roadmaster.
or the Grand National.
Grand National.
My approach was just kind of digging into like the highlight reel of Buick's past, because they have had some great vehicles. It's so long ago, man. Bringing back any of this stuff and like putting some kind of enthusiasm. I mean, when's the last time you heard anything Buick and got excited? It's been...
And that's the thing. I think no matter what, whether it's out of my playbook or your playbook here, as far as what we have for Buick, whichever first one comes out, I think you do the splashier one. What Buick would have to do. And they'd have to nail it, because how incredibly skeptical will every publication and journalist and human being be of any hot new alleged offering from Buick? Unrealistically skeptical. So whether it's your Wildcat or my Grand Sport or Electra or whatever, if it dropped and it was actually like, hey, this thing's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And GM actually stopped sitting on their hands when it came to Buick and actually put something out that's remotely competitive and splashy. I mean, it would be a game changer for the brand.
Right, and
simply put. And
so that's why I'm thinking Grand National, because it's in that sweet spot, right? The 80s is kind of still fondly remembered. Those of us that were born in the 80s are buying.
Yeah.
We're the buyers now. We're the buying market.
That's right.
Something with a nameplate.
My pocketbook out.
Right, yeah. My checkbook even.
That's right.
When's the last time I wrote a check?
What's a check?
Check yourself.
Wreck yourself.
Always do. But the Grand National, I think it's got enough like weight with that name, and it's still revered, and it's no one like thinks of a Grand National and goes, oh, that's boring. It's a very exciting car.
Yeah.
That no one saw coming at the time.
Yes.
And is still respected. I think something with that would just get that initial spark going. I'd lead with something like that.
Right. Yeah, that'd be
smart.
smart.
So excited. Wouldn't you get so excited if it even had that kind of like silhouette, like spoiler thing that comes out before, and it says she's
just
back, and it shows the turbo symbol.
You know what actually would work right now in today's market is that kind of that light treatment, like the stripy kind of, not quite a light bar but almost a light bar taillight treatment that those cars had.
Oh yeah.
You just have that across the, and then the badge,
symbol.
the turbo symbol badge.
How much
the yellow, orange,
how much excitement
red.
would that generate, that ad, if they drop that?
That would be
huge.
dope.
It would crush
that
would be story number one.
Yeah,
Period.
that would be a good one. I mean, I think that could be enough to save the brand. I mean, because here's the thing. I mean, and I've heard, and I don't know if it's legit or not, but I've definitely heard of like, oh, the only reason why Buick is around is because it's very popular in China.
Right.
But
it's true.
I don't know if I buy that, because it's like, how many other GM brands are in other markets that we don't get, like Vauxhall.
True.
Or Opel or whatever.
It was Holden.
Rest in peace, Holden.
For real RIP on that one.
What else do you have? Is Skoda a GM brand? I don't even know anymore.
I don't know about
that might be Volkswagen Group. But point being is, it's just like, they're selling, and they're putting them in, and they're selling them here domestically, and it's not cheap to sell a product as an automotive product in North America, like the hoops that you have to jump through. And so
sure,
they're treading water, and so I think it's a brand that has enough history and stuff to be saved. Whether it's going to happen, I don't know. I'm skeptical, and I say it probably won't. Like, I think there's more. When we saved single-handedly, or hand-in-hand, I should say, when we saved Mitsubishi.
It's romantic imagery.
I think it is. It's all we traffic in is romance here. And so I think there's more hope for... I truly think there's more hope for Mitsubishi than there is Buick, at least in North America.
I agree with that statement.
And considering how disastrous Mitsubishi has been for a long time, that's kind of an indictment on what GM has done with Buick.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I think there is some kind of hope for putting some kind of sporty stuff, some exciting stuff back in, because the void left by Pontiac, which was the excitement brand. I mean, GM has like the Corvette, the Camaro, that kind of stuff's fun. Right. But I think that gap is there where Buick can step in and put like the GNX, or put, I don't know, like even the Roadmaster or the Overroad Master. These would be fantastic vehicles that really don't have peers in the market or in GM at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I feel like the current Buick lineup is trying to be I don't even want to say all things to all men because there's no even whisper of performance or excitement.
I think they're down to bare bones and they're down to like what they know they can lease out or do fleet sales or whatever the hell. Whoever's buying, like, no offense if you own one. I've heard bad things about some of them. But yeah, any of the
I've heard nothing about any of them because it's like,
imagine if you're,
it's like, first off, nobody's buying any of these. Secondly, if you went out and bought yourself a Buick Encore, are you like going around and talking about your Buick Encore? No.
Yeah, but what if you could summarize your entire automaker's lineup as the 3 E's? I mean, how good are you doing in the business market? You're like,
well, hey, if you're Lotus.
Okay, that's
all
fair.
of Lotus is E's.
Yeah, that's right. A little different pedigree there, but
slightly different.
Yeah,
somewhere Colin Chapman is rolling over in his. Is he in a tomb? Is he in his sarcophagus?
He's buried in a.
It's probably carbon fiber,
wasn't he?
Was he?
Yeah. No, I don't know.
He'd have been.
He'd get a supercharger.
No, he'd be in an Elan 2+2.
You think so?
But no, what's interesting is like the thing with Buick is, unlike Mitsubishi. The thing with Buick is there's a full force and funding of one of the largest automotive brands in the history of humanity behind it in General Motors.
Yep.
And so, it's certainly something can happen with it. Something should happen with it. Because right now they're on the 5-year plan of being insolvent.
Yeah, true.
So I'd like to see it. Out of all the brands like of old cars that I personally enjoy and like, I would say it's probably lower on my list than others. Yeah. I don't have I've never owned a Buick product.
I don't think I have either.
I've driven a bunch of different various kinds, but I think universally what they're bringing to the table now is just not going to be successful. Even it reeks of somebody in the GM office is saying, hey, you know what sells? SUVs.
Oh God, yeah. That's exactly.
And so that's what we're going to make, and that was the full amount of forethought put into it.
You mean like my first day when I go in there with my nice new pressed shirt, and I'm like, hey guys, here's the plans for the new Grand National, and they're like, oh, it's nice knowing you. Thanks for stopping by.
And that's emergency exit. This is an emergency. You need to walk out of it.
What if they put Grand National badging on a crossover? Like, do we just quit the planet at that point? We just
exactly.
We're just
yeah,
done.
just go full Wall-E and just like go into your spacecraft and wait for like the rest of humanity on the planet to die away.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
I like it.
So beyond. So I don't know. I think there's hope. I think we have
maybe.
If you're listening out there at the good people at Genital Motors and you want to use our tips to save Buick, feel free.
Our PayPal account is
hashtag us. Like I don't even know what the proper payment is.
Shout out. But hey, realistically, if we are thinking about dropping Buick, just drop a Grand National. Just drop that power plant. You already got it for the Cadillac.
Yeah.
Just do something stupid, something silly. 1-year release.
Even if they do it as just like a
parting shot.
Here's the thing: if they did that as just an in-house like project car, which in the compared to the amount of coffers and money that they have at GM, comparatively would cost them $0 to do.
Yeah. No.
If they just like redressed one of their current cars and brought back a Grand National or whatever, as just like a concept and put it out there and pushed it to the media and hey, come drive it, like that alone would get
the rumor mill spinning.
And it would get more positive attention than that brand has had in 15 years.
That's
combined.
What I'm saying.
So,
I think Grand National is the key. I think we make a goddamn
go full GNX.
Yeah, I'm serious. All that retro symbol would just, but not on an SUV.
Buick fans, react!
Do not put it on an SUV, please.
Don't you dare!
Don't you do it.
With that said, I think you need to fire hot ropes of quiz.
Are you feeling quizzical?
Over my neck and chest.
I'd like to welcome our contestant Frank into the quiz zone. We have an automotive print ad, non-official theme music yet. We have a print ad quiz show that we run, which is basically just reading an automotive printed ad.
Yes.
From the 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
Those were things.
Omitting the giveaway stuff. But Frank here is going to have 3 guesses to figure out what vehicle we are talking about or be shamed forever.
Into oblivion. Yeah. Who knows? I think we've been on here's the thing. We've been on a little bit of a run lately, which means I think one of us is due to screw this up.
I mean,
that might be my cross to bear here. I don't know. I don't know if you're really bringing the hammer.
I got you, buddy.
But we're gonna find out. What? I guess just fire at will.
So we got two vehicles in the ad. I'll do a basic description for you. We have the vehicle we're talking about compared with something very different.
And now for something completely different.
And there in the top part, basic ad layout, vehicles on the top. We've got some words. We've got a cool description. So let's go. The main tagline says, the basic idea behind the blank.
Oh.
So a little leaving off here.
What is the basic idea?
Basically, the rig pictured above can do anything a blank can do.
Okay.
It will hold loads, emphasis on loads, guys,
Boy.
of cargo, out-accelerate many performance cars,
Okay.
and reach top speeds of over
100
100 miles per hour.
Boy.
It will also pull about 150 Gs.
Huh?
I don't know if they...
That sounds genuinely deadly.
Legit, very much, because I'm pretty sure it's like 6 Gs will kill you. Right from your wallet. Oh, it'll also pull about 150 Gs right from your wallet.
Okay.
That was just weird spacing.
Okay.
Sorry.
There we go. No, okay. All right.
You didn't die. Which is why it pays to consider a blank. So clearly they were talking about the more expensive vehicle in that image.
The rig.
Yes, the rig. It's 74 cubic feet of cargo space.
Okay.
It's greater than most blanks in its class. While its performance rivals that of some of the world's top sports cars.
Okay.
So we can haul all ass and stuff.
That's right. And the fam.
You see, unlike other blanks, and that's, I'm leaving that out because it kind of gives it away.
Sure.
Both ends of the blank were built for hauling. I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
That was good.
It's a good touch.
Frank, what are we talking about? It's kind of fun. This
boy.
is fun.
So this is fun. The whole time you were reading this, I actually was picturing a vehicle in the mind's eye. Theater of the mind. Not a lot for me to go on though.
Not spec wise, but
No
very
spec.
few cars would try to do this approach. I think this kind of.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that few. So the thing I've been picturing in my mind this whole time is the good old Svitish, the old Volvo 245 turbo. So the 200 series turbo wagon specifically. So 245, the 5 is the fifth door, and the fifth door is the hatch. The trouble there is when this car was out, and this was the turbocharged, I would expect there to be an awful lot of turbo talk to the point where it would be almost gag-inducing. So the fact that there's no actual turbo this or turbine that or spool up your life or any kind of something like that. But because it's what's pictured in my brain, I kind of have to run with it. I suppose it could be a 740 turbo or 760 turbo, and it would be a Volvo 700 series, but I'm going to go with the 200 series. I'm going to go with the tried and true turbo brick Volvo 245, if we're being pedantic, wagon turbo. Final answer, Bob.
So the basic idea behind this vehicle is about as close as you can get with that guess.
Oh,
so we are
okay.
Correct. Your hint, if you don't want anything special, I will
Not yet.
I'll show you something then.
Okay.
Volvo is correct.
Okay. So I did mention the 700 series. There's also the 800 series. I don't want to go 900 because there was the Volvo 900, but the 900 was far more luxurious. And I think they'd be touting that more than the Go side of things. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a risk because the easy thing is for me to just double back and say, well, okay, fine, it's a 700 series turbo, but I'm gonna say Volvo 850. I'm not gonna say R. Could it be the R? 850R or GLT? I'm just gonna say Volvo 850R. Final answer.
I would love an 850R, and it's still incredibly close to this car, but not right. So I'm going to help you a bit here.
Okay.
So you want to get there.
Okay.
850R is so much want. So you're right. You're absolutely right. We already confirmed automaker.
Yeah.
I need to help you out with the time placement.
Because that's it, right? Because I can
right?
go in two directions. I can go backwards to the 700 series. I can go forwards to the V70 series.
How about if I told you, this is going to be a fun guess. This might just give it to you, though. Well, here's the thing.
I feel like I'm already there. I just don't.
You're there. The vehicle in the photo it's racing against is a Lamborghini Countach.
Ooh, okay.
Of the latest iteration of that vehicle.
Okay. So then it has to be, because the only vehicles they had for sale in North America at that time were the 200 series, which that was my first guess.
Mm-hmm.
You had the 700 series, which is what I'm probably going to guess. Specifically the wagon, because you can get a 780, which I really want, which was the Bertone styled coupe.
Pretty cool.
Which is pretty rad. But I'm going to say Volvo 700 series wagon, turbo. Final answer, Bob.
I mean, if you're going to say that, I guess you could just say the basic idea behind the Volvo turbo wagon, which was the 740.
The 740, okay.
Is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's why we had to leave turbo off, because 740 turbo wagon was the name of the vehicle.
Right, which was funny because you can get a turbo in a 760.
True.
But in the earlier cars, in some of them, the 6 meant 6-cylinder, and then you had the 6-cylinder, which is not the turbo. But in the later stuff, you had the 760 turbo, which was a 4-cylinder, but the 6 was just a trim level. You got nicer leather and heated seats and such.
Right. And can I be honest? I was going to give
yes.
you a giveaway clue. Was there's 74 cubic feet of
Yeah.
cargo space,
Yeah.
and you would have been like, "What?
You know, it's funny. Yeah, I clearly that wasn't by design, because the 200 series didn't have 24 cubic feet. That's interesting.
I got to share with you. I'll put it on the screen for you folks following at YouTube. But this is just just brilliant. You got the Countach pulling a trailer.
That reminds me. I almost feel like this. Whatever marketing department did this ad also did the Volks the 911 turbo that kills bugs fast.
Right. Yes.
And like that same where you have like this one really kind of kitschy catchphrase, really bold, and then like the ad at the top, you know.
It's good. It's good. Great imagery too. It's showing, obviously the Countach needs a trailer to match the capacity, carrying capacity of the Volvo. But this is early 90s,
cars.
right? This would be like 92, 93.
Yeah.
Later, I love the V7.
I think this is maybe slightly earlier, because if you look it still has the old school sealed beam headlights for the Volvo.
It's hard to tell. Maybe 89, 90?
Yeah, like
it's
89,
like right in there. Because then
88, 89.
You remember the V70Rs? Not the ones that are super famous, but the ones before that where they were all automatics, unfortunately.
Yes.
That's like one of my favorite looking. Same with the 850R. I just think that Volvo style is... It's
the brick,
it's
the box.
That is the turbo brick.
The turbo brick. And the thing with the turbo, and it's funny, like there's some people that'll get like butthurt by the term. Like they think it's like viewed in a negative light. Like, oh, you're calling this Volvo a brick. It's far more handsome than that. It's not just brick. It's just like, it's an ode to its build quality and its reliability, and also just, that it's, and its shape. But like people are like, oh, you're talking down to this car now. It's just a great car.
How about it running in the old touring car races where you can see it? It's like picking up its one of its tires. It's so good.
Yeah, and they had the silver and blue livery.
Yeah, yellow and blue.
Yellow and blue for the Swedish flag. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Good car. Good ad.
Put out there. Good guessing, man. You nailed it. Like there's
It kind of has to be.
That's
right?
why I said,
like,
you can't compare. It's talking about hauling stuff. It's talking about fast. I just couldn't say turbo because turbo is part of this vehicle's naming convention. So
very fair.
You did it, dude.
Fair.
You did it. Good job.
We led that horse to water.
Yeah.
Normally, I probably should be drinking water, but instead, I think we're probably gonna. Do you want to do some angel dust?
Yeah, that was good, man. We got the used up all the way up to your third guess. I think we need to
celebrate.
Take the edge off.
Celebrate. Yeah. take a little bit of the edge off with some PCP, which is our project car progress.
Yeah, we have to clarify that each time in case there's any
exactly
Fed boys listening in.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Over and out. No. So, red team go. Red team go. I guess I'll just go first because I think probably you went first last time. I don't remember, but we have to be equitable here.
Yeah, taking turns.
So I got a little bit of work done on the Gland Vitara, my $700 2001 Suzuki Grand Vitara.
Did you milk the Grand Vitara?
No, I have not milked it yet. It's still edging its brains out. I have not gotten it to pass.
You're an edgelord.
I am an edgelord.
Grand Vitara.
Exactly.
Jesus.
So the Grand Clitoris, there
goes our PG-13, man.
Exactly. Yeah, we've jumped the shark. So I did. So for the uninitiated, I paid $700 for this car because it refused to set the O2 sensor monitor, which is one of the smog readiness monitors that has to be set here in the great state of California.
God loves smog.
Before it will pass smog. So you plug an OBD2 scanner into it, and you can watch. And these monitors are set. These ones are pending. Here in California, it's got the Red X currently, and it still has the Red X. And I've been driving it, trying to get it to set, doing the drive cycle, hasn't gone. So okay. Plug my scanner and look at all the data coming out of the voltage readings and such coming out of the each individual sensor. They all seem to be doing what they're supposed to be doing, but those are rated for, as I discussed a few episodes ago, there's rated for 100,000 miles on those cars. Suzuki at the time said, hey, 100,000 miles, you change these out.
Sure.
Car's got 140, I just turned 143 on it. Best I can tell, they're original. Okay. So first I swapped out both the downstream sensors.
Okay.
I had first bought just the upstreams, and then I was like, yeah, I'll do them all. And these are the proper NTK, who made the original OEM ones.
Cool, yeah.
Got the proper ones. So those are in on did a couple other drive cycles, still nothing. Okay, so I did the upstreams. I also did, along with both upstream ones, which are a pain in the junk to do. You can get to them. They're clunky. My forearms.
Were you going from underneath or up top?
I did the bottom. I did the lowers from underneath. The uppers, upstream ones from up top.
Okay.
The connector is like sandwiched between the back of each cylinder head and the firewall. And there's like an EGR crossover pipe, and there's a fuel line, and then there's all kinds of stuff. It's just a nightmare, and you got to get a pick in there to try and get it. Just a pain. Ooh. Got it done. I also did spark plugs. I pulled the plugs.
Might as well.
They were fairly worn. They weren't terrible, and they were the proper plugs. They were NGK iridiums, which is what should be in there. So I had some NGK platinums I put in there. Everything's great. I've now put another 60 miles on it. Still has not set that long.
Have you reset the battery? Or
that's what I haven't done yet.
Just and the reason I haven't done
caught
yet,
up,
because that one thing could be
it could be caught up, and that's my next step, because I didn't want to do it because it took a lot to get the cat monitor to set.
Yeah, but
the cat monitor set.
This is cheap, at least.
It is cheap.
You're not replacing cats.
But I don't want to do that and then now be like, oh, now I can't get the cat monitor set again because it was a fight to set. It should set.
It was probably a drive cycle.
It smells like it's okay.
Yeah.
So it's probably a drive cycle. So I'll probably clear it. Just do a cold cycle, cold start, do the whole thing again, and just keep going. It's gonna set. Like there's no knock on wood. It's gonna set. Because that's the last thing I need. And then at that point, I have to make a decision on, do I turn around and sell it, or do we go have an off-road party and we just kick the snot out of it?
Yeah.
Or maybe we do both. Maybe we beat it up off-road a little bit, and then I sell it. And if I add a couple of dents that detract in the value, so be it. But
shit happens.
So that's what I've got. I've got all 4 oxygen sensors replaced with the proper NTK units. I've got all new NGK plugs. It seems to have what it needs. It just hasn't done it yet. So some drive cycles, put some miles on it. The AC works. It's been hot, so I don't have a problem putting miles on it now.
I hear you, and it's like when you have like your monitors ready, except for one, it does suck to reset everything. But I mean, you fail with one wrong.
Yeah, so, it doesn't matter.
And your path of action is going to be like buying new cats, or just reset it, hit your drive cycle stuff, and if it resets, if it's not held up, because I've seen that where their monitor gets held up, right? Yeah. No matter how many drive cycles you do, so you have to reset. Have you tried restarting it, Frank?
Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in? No,
it's literally what you need.
Yeah, so that's probably going to be the next step. But, because here's the thing. If all of a sudden something happens, that car needs cats, it's a rolling total. Like, here in California, best I can tell, the only cats that I can get to replace that with are OEM.
Gotta be $1,000.
Good luck getting OEM cats for a Suzuki.
I've got a good muffler
in North
guy.
America.
I legitimately good muffler guy.
Yeah,
and he's right in the next town over. So
there we go. Okay,
we'll connect off.
I don't want to. That'll put me upside down if I got to do cats on this car by a lot.
He comes through, man.
Still,
I mean, it's gonna suck, but
because that car on its absolute best day is like a $3,000 car.
Oh no, you'll be good.
Yeah,
I'll get you in touch.
Because I'm in right now, including the price of the car and registration and everything. I'm going to be in $1,300.
No, you're good. Just reset. Try resetting it.
I will.
And then after that, I'll put you in touch with him.
There we go.
Cool.
How about you? What have you been?
My PCP. So I did a little piece. I did 2 courses of PCP. I tried
coursing through your veins. Yeah.
Germanic version, and I tried the good. What is the ass kicking homegrown?
Yes.
Domestic.
Oh boy.
So
Don't
first
get high
things
on your own
first.
supply.
Smog. So my Cayman S. Unfortunately, the battery went too low. I was trying to shuffle
We too low?
a dozen cars.
Yeah. Bang ding out.
So I did all the readiness stuff except one thing wouldn't reset. It was the secondary air pump, which is a famous thing for if you're a Porsche owner. You hate
Really
that
anything
thing.
German. I've had to do that like early
BMWs.
2000s Mercedes Benzes.
BMWs do it too.
Absolute nightmare.
Pain in the ass.
You got to cold start like 35 times and it'll finally.
And the problem is though, so a lot of people believe that you can cold start it, let it idle. That's it.
Nope.
You have to literally.
You have to do a full drive cycle.
No, you don't. That's the other thing. You have to do
depends
the first
per monitor.
start. You have to do the first start. So just for the secondary air, you have to do the slow drive.
Yeah.
Without exceeding 3,000 RPM. Good luck doing that on a public road when someone's coming up your butt.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, "What's wrong with your Porsche? Why are you driving like a slow grandma?" And then the other thing is you cannot exceed 3,000 RPM. You can't go over 60 miles an hour on the drive.
Yeah.
It X's the whole drive cycle.
Yeah, some of the drive. We need to do as just a smog episode.
Oh my
because
God,
some of them,
you guys don't want to know.
some
Unless you live here.
every car, is it'll be a California special. But like each of these manufacturers and some of the models within and it changes from model year to model year. They'll have their own specific drive cycle that the computer wants to see, and some of them are obscene. Like you have to drive between 32 and 38 miles an hour for 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and you can't go less than that, and you can't go a minute over that, and then you have to decelerate without touching the brakes down to like 5 miles an hour, and then turn it off and shut it off. And
But sounds fine. That test sounds fine on a
racetrack.
country road or country road. You do that on a busy road, and you try to do an deceleration naturally.
Yeah.
Or someone pulls out when you have to maintain a speed.
Yeah.
It's just it's really harder than you think, and that's only half.
And the small guy will just go drive for 20 miles.
They
and
don't
come
know,
back.
yeah, right.
They don't have the time to explain.
So for the secondary air pump,
cycle.
if you own a Porsche and your secondary air pump isn't working, you have to idle for 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yep.
And then you have to go for a really short drive, come back, idle it for a little bit, shut it off.
Yep.
And each time has to be a full cold start, so you can't do it like 2 hours later. You have to wait.
You got to wait like
next day,
minimum of 12 hours.
Yeah,
it's like.
But when you got it up to temp, usually it's like next day is the safe bet.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy thing. My other PCP, which I was more happy with, I got it to pass, by the way.
Oh, hey.
It finally reset, so
there we go.
The Cayman is good to sit in my driveway for another year or two. I'm working on my buddy's Mustang GT.
Ooh,
now this thing is heavily modified. I believe it has a Cobra engine, not just a Cobra.
What year is this?
89.
Ooh.
So
that's a good. That's a good year for the Fox.
It's a very low mileage example. Every upgrade, BBK stuff. It's going to be on the channel, guys.
B2K stuff.
Big baby cock.
No. I believe it's a pop group from the early 2000s.
Is it
B2K?
Oh yeah, they
that
switched over to,
bum. They had that song, right?
Yeah, they switched over to Mustang GT parts.
They did. Yeah, the career's got to go on.
Mostly Fox body stuff.
Exactly.
But anyway, compression test. So the first thing I wanted to do is because he didn't know the health of the vehicle and it's smoking insanely. Like a ton of smoke.
Hopefully it's something stupid like PCV or something.
I'm hoping that it's going to be... I don't want to get into it too much because I'm going to cover it in a video.
Sure.
But the ECU was swapped out. If it has a Cobra engine and someone put a stock 5.0 ECU in, this thing is going to be running pig rich, which I hope it is. But when you see smoke, I'm a fan of compression tests on an unknown car.
Sure.
You should always do it.
It's easy on that car. You don't have to like.
It's not with headers. Not with headers. So on the Fox body too, the plugs go like this from the back to the front of the engine.
Right.
And with the header design, my compression tool doesn't. You can't put it on with the hose. I have to unscrew the fitting, screw that in. I have to screw the hose in, and then do it. And half the time I'm doing like these like really crazy. Yeah. And I'm not contortion-y. Don't be judgy.
Got me fooled.
Don't body shame me. But dude. What a night! My arms are still like all cut up. It took me. I spread it over 2 days.
Yeah,
it was a nightmare. But compression came out great.
Okay.
So
you do a leak down too, or no?
Not yet, because it was.
I mean, if it's
compression
oil,
numbers,
if it's oil,
fuel.
you're not worried.
So every spark plug was black,
Just soot,
like
yeah.
sooted up and smelled like gasoline. So clearly running pig rich, which makes sense because the other thing, the compression test numbers super high. So the Cobra engine is naturally
Healthy.
high compression
Yeah.
versus a 5.0. So that's an indicator that I'm not working with
It was
a
like
stock
195
engine.
every.
Like 170, 160
Sure.
something
Yeah.
versus 120 to 130 for a 5.0.
Yeah.
And this is cold.
Ice cold.
Yeah. So cold as ice.
Well, Vanilla Ice, big fan of the 5.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows what it's like to have a Roni.
He does. He does.
Whatever. We'll talk about that
the
offline.
top. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
news.
that's fun stuff, man. It's a good time there.
So what's the next step then? So you're gonna go?
I'm gonna start doing some research on the forums. I need to figure out he has aftermarket heads. He has a cam in there.
That's tough
I
when
have
you're
to-
like chasing all these aftermarket parts and they're all made from
I have to
different.
find out what's in there
different
first,
people.
right? If
Yeah.
it's a Cobra engine, so I'm gonna do all that, and then clearly the ECU is the issue. So we're gonna figure out whether I need to source a Cobra ECU that can be socketed and tuned, which is probably going to be the case. But I need to figure out what the parts are before we get a tuned ECU in there.
Yeah, you got to know what you're up against.
So
You gotta
it's
know-
research phase.
Is it aftermarket injectors and all that, or who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. Okay.
And it's trick flow heads, so who knows what specs they were built to?
Yeah,
Who knows what the cam is? There's like, and each one of these components can crazily change the air fuel ratio.
Sure.
So
Especially if you have some old factory ECU that's like from the 80s that doesn't know how to talk to any of this stuff. And it's not like it's a
they're
modern
dumb.
thing
Their
where it'll
ECUs
just,
are dumb back then, right?
It'll like, oh, lambda sensor or whatever in the tailpipe and O2 and it'll adjust. It'll
Even
just
then,
be like
engine
on and
swaps,
off.
a lot of ECUs still can't compensate for that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So this has been through at least a couple mechanics and shops, so it's come to me, and
And I'm sure each one had a different idea on what's going to fix it.
everybody
so.
throws in the towel, right? When you get to a certain point.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll get it taken care of. I have no doubts.
Okay.
But it was fun. I just point of reference, I can do a Miata compression test in less than 15 minutes and change all the plugs out.
Yeah, some are easy, some are
just
not.
heads up.
Good times.
Yeah, so let's wrap this bad boy up.
Every time, yeah.
What do we do? We thank you guys for listening, but we also
Yes.
want a big shout out to Car Park.
Yes, that's Car Park with a K.
You guys can see these beautiful vehicles. And
Yes,
there's
this is-
much more.
This is just like a sampling of what you see here behind us, and they were
Yeah.
gracious enough to let us use their little event space here. They are right here in lovely Pleasanton, California, here in the Bay
right.
Area, and yeah, so they do a good job, not just putting up with us, but also putting up and storing numerous lovely vehicles here. So hat tip to them, hat tip to you guys for following along and listening and doing all of the things. If you want to do more of that, we are on Instagram. That's APA Podcast. On Instagram, you can find us another Pointless Automotive Podcast on the YouTubes. If you're not
YouTubes,
doing that
for
already,
sure.
Chadwick, where can you be sourced?
Auto Obsessive Garage. You'll find me in my antics in my shop space where I'm
Yes.
fixing up turd boxes or working on awesome Mustangs.
That's right.
Same thing. Auto Obsessive Garage on Instagram. If you want to see some not getting updated enough photos.
There you go.
And
Yep.
speaking of photos,
Hey.
Frank, where can we follow you, buddy?
Wonderful segue, my friend. I am
We're
at
working
thephotographersgarage.com on the IG and on the YT. Otherwise, thanks for being a PYT and hanging out with us.
Industry terms.
That's right.
All right, guys.
Acronyms. We're into them.
Yeah, thanks as always. Take care.
Bye-bye.